Well, welcome to the first episode of A Good Life at Solhaven. It's great to be joined in the studio by Samuel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, welcome to the studio. And we've also got Natasha, the loving chef, with us. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to share here today.
No, I'm really excited about this, and it's great to be teaming up with Solhaven because it's a very special place, and it's great to have both of you with us in the studio. And I think for the first episode, what we really need to do is just introduce it to people and explain what you do at Solhaven, what makes it such a special place. I think if we start with Samuel, could you give us a brief introduction to Solhaven and what it is?
Yes, certainly. So Solhaven is a community garden and education centre, all about improving mental health and physical well-being through connecting through nature and community. So we're all about helping people who've maybe lost the way or needing a bit of help with mental health. It can be anything from you're feeling a bit lost or you're being referred by a GP. So we've started this because of our own experience of ill mental health and homelessness, and we really wanted to create a place of safety that people can feel that they can find themselves again, they can find meaning, they can find purpose, and they can meet new people who have had similar experiences to themselves.
So what actually is it? Is it a place? Is it a kind of like a woodland retreat that you have over there?
Solhaven is based on a working farm. So the garden of the farmhouse has been transformed into a community space. So we've got wide areas that people can find somewhere to sit. We've got a large polytunnel that's 10 metres by 5 metres with large beds in that people can find places that they can connect with nature and they can do the gardening. We've got a large yurt that has feels really different because in a yurt it's all wooden and really beautiful inside. So it gives people, when they walk inside, that sort of, oh, this is really nice.
Yeah. And do you find that as soon as people come in there, they're instantly kind of feeling a little bit more in touch with nature because of just the nature of the surroundings and the atmosphere of the place? Absolutely.
One of the things that's really unique about Solhaven is that it's actually right in the middle of a housing estate. So when people come to it, sometimes they can't even find it. And you come up to the gates in between the houses and walk into a farm, and it's like you've transformed from that kind of housing estate environment straight into farmland. And people find that as they do that, they find a change in their kind of almost feeling like, oh, I didn't expect this. This is different. And then we really have worked to create a space that gives them that place where they can just feel at peace.
And do people come there with lots of different reasons for kind of needing that experience? Is there a typical kind of person that would come through the doors, or is it people from all different walks of life, all different reasons?
People for all different reasons. We have people who have maybe referred themselves, they were feeling a bit down, they were struggling with the mental health, or we might have people who've been referred, say, from Berrywood Psychiatric Hospital, and they're being actually in that position of they're transitioning back into the community. So you can see there, we've got a very wide range of people. It might even be somebody who's had a physical event, so they may have had a stroke or some sort of disability that they're needing a bit of help with their mental health. And that's what we do, is give them a space where they can maybe find people with similar life experiences, but most importantly, you can find that space of quiet and just start to find what's working for you.
And I think one of the things that we want to try and achieve with this program is to recreate some of that vibe in an audio form, so that people can have this as kind of like a nice warm audio bath to kind of help them with whatever they're going through and give them some tips and techniques and strategies and some of the teachings that you do over there at Solhaven, and even like some of the rhythm-based therapies that you have with the drumming workshops and things like that. There's a lot that you can achieve in an audio format. Although obviously the best thing is actually to be there in person.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, well, we're going to speak to Natasha now, who is the loving chef at Solhaven, and your role is to do a lot of the same stuff that Samuel does, but kind of incorporating food and nutrition and healthy eating into that whole kind of lifestyle picture.
Yes, that's correct. So my passion, well, apart from mental health and helping run Solhaven, but my passion is all about food. What we eat, why we eat, when we eat, and the whole relationship around food as well. So it's quite important to actually realise why do we eat what we do eat, and when we eat, and what is classed as, let's say, healthy and not quite so healthy along the way as well. So yes, because food does affect our mood. It affects the way we think, it affects the brain fog, or it affects the energy within inside of our bodies as well. And the more sustainable and healthy we eat, the better it is for our bodies totally. So at Solhaven, we invite people to nurture and grow the ingredients, and that could be absolutely anything from Swiss chard, spinach, watercress. Gosh, the list is absolutely a long list along the way. But as they grow and nurture those, then it comes to harvest time, and then the invitation is for them to actually harvest and take home. With the question of how do I cook it, or what can I use it in? Some people have never seen carrots as a round carrot. I remember one day when somebody said to me, "Oh, that can't be a carrot because it's not square." And it's just like, oh, okay, so you've always got prepared carrots from a supermarket.
Wow.
That have always been square.
They've never seen a carrot in its natural form.
No.
I mean, they're not meant to be orange though, are they? Because they were bred to be a different colour back in the day. I read somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely they were. So yeah, but they were made over the course of time. They've been modified a little bit. So orange is the colour of carrots, but you can get purple ones. You can get very pale light ones as well, or you can get some pretty pinky ones.
Lovely. But I think it's, as you say, what we eat, you know, we are what we eat. People say that, and I think there's a lot more of a focus now on hyper processed foods, the kind of ready meals and takeaway food that a lot of us spend a lot of time eating. I'm as guilty as anybody else of this, but it really does make a difference to everything, doesn't it? What you put in your mouth. Yeah,
absolutely it does. I mean, the high processed food is just filled, well, what is it filled with? It's filled with chemicals, it's filled with preservatives, it's filled with additives, and all the unnatural things that our bodies actually can't break down and process and things. So then they sit with inside of the body, and they just make us feel very sluggish. There's a really high content of sugar and salt in there, which doesn't help pre-diabetes, diabetes, brain fog. It doesn't help aches and pains and arthritis and things like that as well. So yeah, the more natural the better. But obviously there's also time. Time is included within cooking. I'm very blessed. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen cooking from very raw, simple, delicious and nutritious food, but that can take quite a long time. But it's becoming more aware of what you put inside of your body actually has an effect on your mental health as well as your physical health as well.
And I think you're right, the process of cooking is so helpful because it's a point where you're very much in the moment, you're very mindful of what you're doing, you're not distracted by other things because you're concentrating on a task, and you know, you're not usually on your phone scrolling while you're stirring pasta.
Yeah, totally. And it's also then whilst you're cooking the food or preparing and cooking the food, you do get the interconnection with your food as well, and you are present and being more one with the food. If you think about everything as an energy, so let's just say, excuse me, if you're watching a horror movie whilst you're cooking food, then the energy of the fear is going to go into the food. Whereas if you're being present within the food at the same time as you're
Preparing it.
Thank you. Teeth stuck there. Preparing it. It's going to taste nicer, but not only taste nicer, it will digest better within the system, and you'll get all the vitamins and mineral acids and everything that's around it. Yeah.
So if you're cooking a food for a loved one or for your own family, and you're feeling those feelings of warmth, because that's why I enjoy cooking, because it's seeing the pleasure on people's faces when they taste what you've created. That all goes into the food and all goes into the process.
Yep, absolutely it does. I mean, if you ever go out for, let's just say a very quick example, if you were to go to a cafe and order, let's say, a cappuccino with oat milk, and the server behind the bar or behind actually making your coffee, if they are pleasant, they're nice, they're happy, the mood is good, your coffee does taste better for you. Whereas if the person who is making your coffee is angry, stressed, tired, run down, or has the attitude of can't be bothered because it's at 5 to 5 and the shop closes at 5, and they've just passed you a cup of quick cappuccino, it tastes very different along the way, and your body will be able to digest the difference of the energies that actually go into that. So yes, it's all about the love. And
also how you're feeling when you drink a cup of coffee affects how you're going to digest it, because if you're feeling anxious and unwelcome, your whole body's going to be tense, and you're not going to digest it properly. You're going to get an upset stomach, particularly if you go out for a large meal and you're in a hurry. It's not going to be very nice.
Yeah. So many people use food. What is food? Food is either a fuel that's just a thing that we need to stay alive, or is it actually a pleasure to actually be able to eat and take time and energy to actually sit down at a table with a knife and a fork, or do we run in a hurry, scattering along the pavement whilst we're popping a sandwich and a bag of crisps into our mouth? It's totally different.
And I think you're right. A lot of that is down to people's lifestyle and how you divide your time and time management, and the feeling that a lot of us have that there aren't enough hours in the day, and I don't have time to eat properly. I'm literally just going to grab a sandwich and jump on a bus while I'm eating it.
Yeah.
You're not really taking care of yourself then, are you? And it's no wonder that you get the health implications that you have with that sort of stressful lifestyle.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that I am 100% perfect. I have a little 80-20% rule. So as long as I'm eating healthily 80% of the time, then the little bits of the dark chocolate is my 20% of not so great. And that's okay, because none of us are perfect. We run a pattern, don't we, of that, I'm going to be healthy and I'm going to eat this, and it's all or nothing. Whereas actually, once we pop that little bit of dark chocolate into our mouths and we have the feeling of failure, then everything else, all the good intentions, then drop aside and say, well, I failed at that, I gave up with that. But actually, if you were to have an 80-20%, well, that's fine, because that chocolate is my 20% rather than my 80%. And it could be... it could be anything that you like along those chocolate lines, or something else that's something quite not healthy.
Everyone's got their thing.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It's better to have something that's achievable, that's got a little bit of stuff that you do for pleasure, purely for pleasure, that isn't, if the rest of the time you're being healthy. But what you don't want is for those feelings of guilt about not being healthy to consume you, and then that's counterproductive.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's trial and error. What works, what doesn't work. Perhaps you can be a healthy eater for 1 meal out of the 3 meals, or perhaps stop snacking in between meals for 1 day, and then you can move it forward to 2 days or 3 days. So rather than doing the whole great big picture of, I'm never going to eat unhealthy again, break it down into different sections. So they are achievable, because once you start achieving, you get the sense of confidence and that, yes, I can do this. And a very good saying I say is just for today. We're not thinking about 6 months down the line, but just for today, I'm going to eat healthily, and I'm going to cut out this, and this, or just one. You can start off with just one thing, one meal, less salt. I'm not going to add salt to my meal for that one meal. and then build it up and build it up, and you gradually, action creates traction in everything that you do, so then it builds up along that way, and who knows, by day 7 you may actually be able to say, actually, yeah, I did it for 7 days, or I've done it for 7 meals. It makes a huge difference.
It does. Action creates traction. I love a rhyming thing I can remember.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to chat a little bit more to Samuel now from Solhaven, because your thing is rhythm and percussion, and that was kind of what you brought to Solhaven initially, wasn't it? And that's a really important part of what you do there with the drumming workshops and the sound baths and all of that kind of thing. Can you tell me a little bit about how that all works?
So yeah, my experience is that music brings people together. Before we started Solhaven, I'd actually was in a very dark place, and I found community through a band. So I play in a samba band. I play percussion. I've been playing for 15 years now, and that's really what I wanted to bring, is that music can set you free. You know, the love of music, movement and sound can bring healing. So with sound therapy, it's the vibrations, the movement of that sound upon your body brings change into your body. Because, you know, we're like 70% water. And as vibrations, if you look at a pond,
yeah, you see the ripples.
You see the the ripples. That's exactly. I did a session where we did an art session around water, and I used sound singing bowls, and as you strike the bowls, you can hear the kind of echoing, which looks like the ripples in the water, and that sound affects your body and brings you into a different state of being.
That's so interesting, because sound waves are basically ripples in the air, and that's how audio works. And when you see it in water, that's a brilliant way of actually being able to see the sound waves actually in the water as the medium that transmits them. But that's actually what's happening in the air all around you all the time when noises are being made.
Yes, and you know, music can be something to express sadness, joy, and you know, sometimes as a release, we use it in our program, which is called Play on the Mind, to be able to have we call it a release ceremony, where we actually use drums to we put something into a fire, your intention of letting go, and then you're playing the drums, you're letting go of whatever you want by channeling it through that means of playing. And as you play, the vibration is moving through your body, that you're moving your body, and as you cross your hands right to left, you're actually changing how your brain works, because you're connecting your right and left brain, because you're actually you're thinking about something, but you're actually doing an action at the same time, and you're engaging with the music. So it's creativity and it's thinking. So that's your creative part and your thinking part of your brain.
That's really interesting, and I guess your subconscious comes into that as well, because it's like muscle memory and your body doing stuff on its own. Because after you've been creating a rhythm for a certain amount of time, it just your body keeps doing those actions without you having to be consciously moving your hands in the right directions.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you're in that moment of playing, you can just lose yourself, because you're so focused on the point of playing that instrument or that action that there's no room for those thoughts. There's no room for anything else. You're just in that moment of time of that bliss, I call it, you know, of actual tranquility.
It's weird, isn't it? So you actually have that peaceful sensation in your mind of everything's quiet in your head while the sound is... do you know what it's like? It's like children. If you try and get a baby to go to sleep and you play white noise, it's the sound of the womb, and it helps the child switch off from all the stuff that's going through its mind, and it just goes like a light switch. It's a very useful thing when you've got kids.
Yeah, absolutely. The drums have been used for centuries as a mean for healing. You know, shamans use it because it mirrors your heartbeat. That, like you said just then, that sense of being in the moon. It brings you back to that moment of the time of your very first beginnings, and you can, if you relax in that, and as somebody else is playing, your mind is being taken back to that point, and you can really relax back into and be taken off and allow yourself to drift into another stage of being.
So how does that actually work with the drumming workshops? Do you have a large group? Is it a one-to-one thing, or can it be either?
It can be either. So we do large workshops with, we do a community drumming circle, which is a combination of either free drumming, so we just start a beat and everybody drums in. Accidental thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not about playing the rhythm right, it's just about the act of playing something. So there is no right or wrong.
It must be irritating. You've got somebody with absolutely no sense of rhythm just playing his own thing. Like when my little boy is playing along on his drum to music, that is just, I don't know what he can hear in his head, but it's not what everybody else can.
Yeah, that actually very rarely happens, because it often you're creating together a piece of music, and often you'll get to a point where things just seem to sink in. Sometimes there may be a bit of a jarring, but eventually things seem to settle into some sort of pattern. But the thing is that maybe the pattern that's created isn't the one maybe that you thought it would be. It's something slightly different, and that's the joy of a free drum. And then there's also actual rhythms that we, this is a 3 rhythm, so we're just doing 3 beats, and everybody's joining in and following that same beat, and we call and response. So we'll sing something. So it might be, for example, we'll go tall trees, and I'll sing back tall trees. So we're just doing that call and response, which is again bringing you back to that. Oh, I'm just following along. I'm following the leader, and I'm singing or I'm playing that beat. And as we do that, we're just getting that piece of I'm using my voice. I'm allowing myself to vocalise. I'm allowing myself to be free, maybe to be able to speak up when I don't normally speak, and I can have that freedom to do it or not.
I think there is a thing there where you've been given permission to speak. It gives you the confidence to do that, whereas normally you might not have that feeling. Yeah.
Absolutely. During our release process, we encourage people to vocalise. So that's more about expression of sound, sort of kind of like that kind of, oh, I'm feeling kind of a bit of aggravated, or you need to feel that maybe the scream or the whatever it is that you need to let go. And that's a really good process, just be able to let go.
And how do how do people seem different after they've been through the workshop? What changes do you notice in people?
We often see a sense of freedom, a sense of relief. And people often comment that they feel lighter.
So it's like a load's been lifted off them.
Yes, it can be different things. For some people, it's different. Some people say, "Oh, I feel like tingly." My body feels like I've almost had a bit of a shock. Or people say I feel lighter. It's different for everybody.
Wow. It must be amazing seeing the difference that you can make, and kind of empowering people to kind of have that transformation within themselves.
Absolutely, it's such a wonder to see people, almost the light come on, that difference, that transition of change, when you see them coming out, and over the time they suddenly feel freer.
That's wonderful. Okay, so the next thing that we were going to talk about is the first permaculture principle. Now you're going to have to explain to me what that means. But this is to do with observing and interacting with nature, I guess. Absolutely.
So Solhaven is a permaculture learning and development site, and permaculture is a way of designing things for better to be responding to nature. It's a way of designing gardens, a way of thinking. So what we've done is we apply that to the way we are as people. So this is one of the principles that we use to be able to teach people how to create a sustainable way of living. So permaculture is that way of designing something that works better for you, to work better with the nature that is around us and the nature that is within us. So observe and interact is about seeing how I am in the world. So, for example, we show people a tree. And you look at the tree and you see how a tree is growing. Is it growing towards the light, or is it growing in the shade? And as trees naturally grow towards the light, whereas people sometimes we've experienced dark situations and dark things, and we haven't grown away from that. We've got these things that are in our lives, these things that we do, that sometimes we need to be able to stand back and look at it and go, that's very interesting. I'm feeling, for example, very anxious. Why is that? Take that step back and be able to look at yourself and be able to see why you are feeling that way. And then that gives you that moment to be able to say, well, I can do something about that. I can understand why that is happening. Sometimes anxiety comes on and it feels uncontrollable. I've struggled with anxiety most of my life, and I have moments when it just feels really dark and I feel lost, and I have to work through that and remind myself, take a step back. Sometimes it takes me a while to remember that. Go, okay, this is interesting. It's okay to have these dark moments, but be able to see it and be able to say, well, this isn't forever. I can look for something that can help me with that.
I think it's about putting it in context as well, isn't it? Because you don't necessarily know how far in the shade you are until you can take a step back and see that actually on the other side of this, canopy, there's some sunlight shining down, and the tree doesn't know which way to grow until it can see the sunlight and kind of point in that way. And I think that sometimes people are so used to being in the shade that becomes normal to them, and they forget what it's like to not have those dark thoughts and be in that place.
Absolutely. You've put it much better than I've articulated it. Yes, because we show people tools and techniques to be able to show them different things there is a different way of doing things. It doesn't always have to be this way. And, when these things come to you and affect you, that you can take a step back, you can look at it and go, well, there is light, there is a different way. There is something I can do about this. I've found that drumming helps. So I'll be sitting tapping away on the table, or tapping on my leg because I'm trying to find that kind of moment of I just need to relax. So I'm giving myself that. You could have
like a little portable bongo drum keyring thing that you could take around with you, like when you're in a restaurant and just start tapping out.
Yes, you can. You can do that anyway.
The world is your drum,
yes.
Like you've just demonstrated. So I think you're right. It's about going through processes that help you put things in context and help you kind of see where you want to go with things. And the drumming workshops are one method of doing that. And I guess it all kind of interrelates to the food side of the story as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does relate to the food story as well. I just want to touch upon the tree as well. We also asked the participants, what does the tree represent to themselves? Because a tree is just being a tree. It's not trying to be anything else. It's not thinking about yesterday and it's not thinking about tomorrow. It's only thinking about the right here, the right now of being a tree. And if you're an oak tree, you're an oak tree. You're not trying to be a sycamore tree or an apple tree or a hazelnut tree or anything else. You're just trying to be an oak tree for the day. Where it's going to get its fluid from, its hydration from, and where it's going to get its nutrition from. Excuse me. And a lot of us, including myself, think, oh, well, I need to be like this, so I fit into that. Whereas actually, if we were to take nature's way and just use the tree as an observation of a tree's just being a tree, so why can't we just be ourselves along the way and try not to change the way to fit into the world of something that actually we're not, because we're all unique as individuals. I'm certainly not the same as Samuel's not the same as you, but we all have something very unique as a gift as well, but sometimes we tuck it away and bury it under the ground because we're a little bit unsure of our true authentic self, of what we really are and what does that mean.
So it's actually knowing who you are is the first step of being yourself, is to actually
who are you?
know who you are and understand what makes you unique and which bits of how you think of yourself are you and which bits are you trying to be something for other people or for what you think you should be.
Yeah. What mask are you actually playing or putting on every time you meet somebody, or whether you go around with friends or meet a different family member and things, whereas actually if you were to, I do this as a mask because we can all relate to it now, but if we were to take the mask off and actually show ourselves for our true authentic self, and then we're just being us. So it's a prime example being the tree in the observer world of when are we being our true authentic self.
And I think a lot of us are like Christmas trees, so we've got all the decorations all over the tree, but then when you take that all off, what are you left with?
The bare tree in itself, in all its glory. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of tinsel there.
Oh no, a little bit of sparkle every now and again does help.
Brilliant.
Shine the light the way.
So I've got on my notes here that we're going to have a live percussion demonstration. Is that something that we're ready for? Have we got the technique for that? I can edit this bit out if we're not ready for percussion. What else do we want to talk about? I'll have a break here.
Shall we have just a moment?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
I'll leave it recording for a sec.
I didn't bring anything because I didn't
think you had a drum hidden down.
Where's the drum?
I forgot I put that and I didn't bring the drum.
That's fine.
I can bring it next time.
Oh yeah, next time would be great. So we've got call to action: attending a percussion workshop or cooking class.
Okay.
Has that covered everything?
How long have we been going?
About half an hour. So that's about 6 5-minute chunks, which is about right. So we can do one more to just kind of wrap things up.
Okay, so rather than a percussion workshop, could we share our next drumming session, community drumming session, being the 27th of December?
Yeah. So this is going out start of December, isn't it? I think
this is going out on the 2nd, isn't it?
1st of December.
1st of December.
Oh.
Yes, I do a percussion on a table.
Well, you did a little mini demonstration, so.
And
yeah.
then
So does okay. I was confused because is it supposed to be an hour that we're supposed to be recording?
It's got music in between, so the 5-minute chunks have songs in between, so it takes an hour of radio.
Okay.
The podcast will be a bit shorter than that because it doesn't have the songs in.
Okay.
So
that's good.
30, 40 minutes for the podcast is about right.
Is it? And that's normal for a podcast.
Yeah, that's a good length.
Yeah.
So I think if we feel right to say the 27th of December for the community drumming.
That's a nice date because that's sort of in the middle of that kind of boring bit after.
And we do that to, it's a little reflection on the year, but it's also the invitation ready for next year. So it's like letting go of old, bringing in new. It all sounds very hippie-ish, but it's really not. We may be round the log fire actually outside for a time.
Nice.
We certainly don't go out there for an hour and a half anymore, but there may be a invitation to go outside to go into the the campfire. And then for myself, rather than a cooking class, a supper club, because I do supper clubs once a month.
Cool. Okay, right. I'm going to start this recording again.
Sorry. What, all of it?
No,
Oh,
just
good.
just do the end bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've deleted all that. All that rubbish.
Sammy, can you just get my phone out of my bag, please? So my phone is in my bag. And will we have time to pick a card?
Yeah, we'll do that right
Is
at the
that
end.
all right?
Yeah.
It's like you're going to ask me for a date, and I don't know the date off by heart. Oh, I have got one on Friday the 13th of December.
Ooh.
Actually, yeah, I mentioned that because I've got 3 tickets left for that.
We could do a drumming thing just using like your lap and stuff. Does that?
I think we'll save that for the next one.
Okay.
We can preview that and say we'll be doing that in the future. Right. Are you ready?
What date is the 27th? Is that Saturday? No, it's not Saturday. I'm guessing.
It is the...
Friday. Ooh.
Oh, so Christmas is on a Wednesday.
Oh.
So everyone will have Monday the 23rd off.
Yeah.
I think Friday the 20th will be the last proper day.
I get a bit tongue-tied saying dates. I'm a bit dyslexic in my world with numbers.
Date-lexic.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Did you put down your when your supper club is?
Yeah. Friday the 13th. That one's drumming.
I'm just thinking how I'm going to start this. Well, we're drawing to the close of the first episode now, and one of the things that we want to do is give you the chance to come along physically and experience what's going on at Solhaven. And have you got a drumming workshop coming up soon?
Absolutely. We have a drumming workshop on the 27th of December, which is a Friday, from 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. And that will be a celebration of the season, the end of the year, moving from the old into the new. We may even be round the fire outside. So
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully if it's good enough, we'll have the fire going. We'll sit round the fire, not for the whole time, but some of the time. We'll play around the fire, and then we'll also have the yurt as well.
It kind of feels like an ancient way of celebrating the end of the year to do that sort of thing and sit around a fire outdoors, and it kind of feels very much grounded with nature and history and all of that kind of thing. It's kind of an ancient way of celebrating the passing of the seasons as you get towards the end of the year. Yes,
we feel it's being around a fire and using the drums. You kind of that primal gathering, that kind of just you're gathering as a tribe together. We welcome new people, so you're going to meet new people. You're going to be just in that moment of music, enjoying that sense of the fire and the rhythm, which is really.
And you don't have to dress like a Neanderthal.
No, you don't.
I mean, unless you want to. I guess that's always an option.
We advise you to dress up warm.
I know you'd freeze, wouldn't you? You'd have some nice bear skins on or something. And have we got some healthy cooking workshops coming up as well?
Oh gosh, yes. So we offer a supper club once a month in the yurt, which is a community table. So it's one large table, maximum space of 14 people, and Friday the 13th.
Friday the
Oh my
13th.
gosh. Yeah, Friday the 13th of December is our Christmas themed one. So yes, we do ask you to pre-book, so get in touch with us, and to bring an appetite.
Okay. And are you going to get some ideas of things that you could do for Christmas, kind of Christmas meals and things that might be a little bit healthier?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So obviously, there's no meat involved. So it's healthy, refined sugar-free, gluten-free ideas for your festive table as well. So yeah, we'll have a centerpiece of sweet potato, tomato and spinach pie. You've got to have roast potatoes.
It's got to be done.
Obviously, it's got to be done. Some form of Brussels sprout along the way, but the dessert is going to be a top secret thing till you get there.
That's exciting, because I mean the food is an important part of Christmas, but it's so open-ended now. There's lots of different ways you can go with it, and you don't have to have. Nobody really likes turkey, do they? It's one of the most disappointing meats. So having a few more options and a bit more choice of what to do at Christmas, I think, is a great idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Fabulous. Now, one of the things that we're going to do on the show every time is towards the end. It's something that you do at Solhaven with the cards.
Yep, it is, absolutely. So beautiful that Gareth, one of our directors, has made some beautiful cards here. What are they?
Wow.
Oh, they're just beautiful. So yeah,
they're really nice. If you get the chance to watch the video of this on YouTube, it's really worth doing, just to see the playing cards really and our lovely faces. But you were saying before, they've been hand painted.
Yep, they have been hand painted by Gareth. So Gareth was going through a little bit of a tough time mentally. His mother passed away quite suddenly, and to keep his mind occupied and staying in focus and staying present rather than wandering off into all the different emotions, he started to pick up pen and paper and free draw big A3 size pictures, and that really helped his mental health along the way. And then we've taken, Gareth has taken little snippets of the pieces of drawing and artwork that he's created, and we have a 71 pack of little cards that we use every day or once a week and things to bring us. I've just realised it's got focus on here. So I'm looking at the cards and I've actually picked up focus. But yeah, it's to actually bring our mind into a focus, something for us to think about for the week or 2 weeks. And it gives people,
So these aren't like psychic tarot cards or anything. These are just basically, it's a way of picking something to think about for that week.
It is, yeah. It's something to think about, whether you need encouragement, support or guidance during the difficult times, and help suggestions for journaling if you're a journaler, which is another tool that we can talk about on our next episode and on the way. Meditation, and sometimes meditation is let's just focus on a word rather than a lit candle and thinking of nothing. So the random pick of a card is a must for each episode. So yes.
do I pick a card now?
Yep, you can pick a card.
Right, here we go. All right, so I'm holding the deck here, and I can sort of shuffle through, but I'm looking at the back of the card, so I can't see what I'm picking. So it's the mistake I made before when I was practicing, was I was looking at all the lovely designs. So let's see what I get. And it's the Hanging Man. This means death. No, I'm joking. It says family. That's nice. I don't know, there isn't one that says you're doomed.
No, definitely not. So yes, so family. And and what does family mean to you?
Well, I have a family, and it's something that takes up a lot of my time, but in a positive way. And I think for me, it's all about work-life balance and how to manage to spend plenty of time with the family, but still running my many businesses at the same time and trying to keep all of that juggled. And I think recently we've been doing some really fun stuff. So we went to a winter light trail at Delapre Abbey last night, which was fantastic. Wow. Definitely recommend that if you get the chance to check it out. And built a snowman the other day because it was snowing.
Oh, of course, yeah, the snow.
So yeah, it's just about doing lots of fun things. And my little boy had a little elephant in his class that he brought home this week, and we had to take photos to put in a book to send back to school. And it's a bit like parent bragging rights, who's the best parent. But it gave us an excuse to take him to lots of interesting places. We went to a dinosaur museum, and we took him around a stately home, and he came and helped me with a big gig in an arena, and he was on stage with all the equipment and the decks and stuff, and got a photo of his little elephant in the O2 Academy in front of like thousands of people. So it was a really good week of family stuff. And I think it's important to not lose touch with what your family means to you and what it brings to you and all that kind of thing. I think.
Brilliant. Giving them time. Yeah, quality time with family is important.
I think that's the thing. It's not just going through the motions and feeling like, oh, I'm spending time with my kids, so it must be fine. When you're sat there on your phone or you're working on your laptop while they're watching TV, it's actually doing activities and stuff. You don't have to go to a lot of expense and spend a fortune, but just fun things like building a snowman or playing football in the garden or something like that.
And that's the memories that will be held close in the heart for a lifetime. Building a snowman with Dad, and little things and dinosaurs and things. So,
and looking everywhere for a carrot. We found a carrot in the end. So that was good. Not a square one.
Not the square carrot. Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
So this is about encouraging people to think about what family means for them. So for some people, family might not bring up good things. Hopefully it's what it brings up for you. Just to be able to think on the word family. What does that mean to you? What feelings does that bring up? How does it make you operate? What meaning does it have to you? Maybe if you could write something down about it or do a drawing about it. Just something that maybe helps you reflect for this moment at this time of year.
And I think that's something to remember at Christmas as well, is that Christmas isn't always a happy time for people if they've lost family members, or if their family isn't necessarily a positive thing in their lives. Then it can be difficult seeing everybody else and feeling that pressure to have a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, on that happy note, thank you very much for the first episode. And don't forget, you can listen to this as a podcast, watch it as a video, like and subscribe, tell your friends, and get involved. And obviously, the most important thing is to be aware that Solhaven is there for you, whatever it is that you're going through, or even if you just want to see what it's like to experience some of that stuff. And how can people get in touch with you?
So they can find us at solhavens.co.uk.
They can follow us on Facebook. I have to look because I've got so many different things. But Facebook is Sol Langhaven, so it's SOL. LAUG, and then Havens, HAVENS. So you find us on Facebook there, or if you want Instagram, if you're an Instagrammer, is Solhaven Farm, SOLHAVEN
ARM.
Thank you. I had a moment there. It was just like, so yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today, and don't forget to tune in next time. What are we going to be talking about in the next episode? We're going to have a live drumming workshop, I think, aren't we?
Yes.
Demonstration.
Yes, we will do.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that. So, join us next time. And thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.